set upon a hill, they cannot be hidden. Ronald Reagan said, America is the last, not a perfect country, but the last great hope of man on earth. And if you don't think that's true, more of the good news goes from these shores to the rest of the world combined and come to us. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. And if you think that this is just pure patriotism, unbridled patriotism, that's not the message. I wasn't patriotic under Bill Clinton. Trust me, I was not patriotic. I was a very unhappy Moshe boy. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Mishlei 2026. He wasn't the Gipper, that's for sure. 2026.
It was the Dipper.
Mishlei 2026. A wise man. I like that. That's a classic. I hope we got that on tape. Mishlei 2026. A wise melech, listen, a wise ruler, melech, scatters the wicked. Hello? What did Ronald Reagan's policies do? It scattered the Soviet Empire, meaning he was a wise ruler. Notice, listen, a wise ruler scatters the wicked. Does this make sense? And turns the wheel over them. What wheel? The wheel of Yahweh's will. The wheel of Yahweh's purpose. The will of Yahweh's merkavah.
The wheel within the wheel.
Ronald Reagan was an ordained minister of Yahweh.
No question.
I can't receive that, brother. I've been a lifelong. Go pray. Don't argue with me. Right? I'm not here to argue politics. I'm showing you that Yahweh works His will through man, and we have to learn to give honor to our politicians when they're worthy of honor based on biblical standards, when their lives are conducted, when their office, when their administration, when their civil affairs are conducted on biblical standards.
Amen.
Period. There's nothing to do with our religious preference. This has to do with righteous rulers versus unrighteous rulers. Okay, Mishlei 20 and 26. Did we do that? Okay, we did that. Verse 28. Mishlei 20, 28. Chesed and emet, listen, chesed and emet preserve the ruler, the melech. And his throne is upheld by mercy. Hello? You know what all of Ronald Reagan's opponents said about him over the last week? I didn't agree with him, but he was never unpleasant. He was never unkind. He was the most gentlest, kindest. Even when we disagreed to the hilt, he was the kindest, most merciful, most forgiving and loving person that I ever met. So the throne was upheld, his presidency was upheld by mercy and preserved by truth. Which is why people jump out of their cars at his funeral to park and watch the motorcade. When Gerald Ford dies in the next year or two, he's very ill, he'll be the next president, most likely, to die. 2-hour funeral, sandwich, can of Coca-Cola, and everybody goes home. Then you'll understand the greatness of what we just went through as a nation. No big deal. He was never even elected to public office. He inherited the office from Richard Nixon. May have been a nice guy, but you'll see the difference between a giant of the 20th century and another president who dies. You'll see it. He'll be the next, most likely, the next to die. There won't be this big thing when Gerald Ford dies. What's so funny? Are you thinking about him skiing? Playing golf? Mishlei. So Ronald Reagan, he overcame evil with good, but he never lost his rachamim, did he? He upheld his presidency by what? Rachamim. And when he was caught lying, he wasn't perfect, he got on television and he said, I didn't think I was selling hostages for arms, but I guess that's what we were doing because that's what looks like we were doing. Baruch Hashem. Personally, I thought it was a great idea, but I don't want to get into politics. Get the Americans free, raise money, sell the arms to Iran, raise the money, send the money to the Contras in Nicaragua to overthrow the Sandinistas and Daniel Ortega. Great, the hostages are free. We take that money, which is dirty money, we don't keep it, we use it to put a democratic government in Nicaragua. I thought it was great, but I mean, it may have been a little illegal, but oh, don't get me started. What a scheme that was. People are still trying to figure out what that was all about. What was that Iran-Contra thing all about? I thought it was pretty good. Get a democracy for some dirty money, I think it was pretty good. Okay, Mishlei 29:4. Let's wind this down. Mishlei 29:4. 29:4. Quickly, let's go quickly. The Melech by Mishpat establishes the land, but he that receives bribes overthrows the land. I'm sorry. 29:4. Yeah. Now let's go to 29:14. The Melech that faithfully judges the poor, his throne shall be established le'olam va'ed. We won't go into that. The faithfully judges the poor, his throne shall be established. Like I said, 16 million jobs were created, so whether you're poor, rich, middle class, whatever, I believe his economy benefited everybody. Okay, let's go to Ecclesiastes. I don't have a page here, so this may be difficult for me because my books are not in order. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go to the contents. Kohelet. Rivka, you're the only one that can help him, darling. You're the only one. Kohelet 8:43. 8:43. Can anyone enjoy?
Come on.
8:43. Kohelet 4:13. Kohelet 4:13. Ecclesiastes 4:13. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish melech who will no more be admonished. I'll read it again. Better is a poor and wise child than an old foolish melech who will no longer be admonished. You know what? Mr. Reagan was a person who could be admonished. Hello? He listened to his advisors. When he did right, he did right. When he was felt they was doing wrong, he always took counsel and listened to his advisors. A righteous king will always be willing to be admonished. Always. Don't turn there for the sake of time, because of our testimonies. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, that's where Yahweh wanted it. Tov. Devarim 28:36. You'll read about what happens when Israel sins against Yahweh. And it says in Deuteronomy 28:36, we as a nation are in galut. We as a nation are in exile because we are the recipients of wicked rulers. We have experienced wicked rule in Israel. Read Deuteronomy 28:36 on your own time. The reason we're here today is not only the sinfulness of our nation, it was the sinfulness of our political rulers, our kings. Our kings were unrighteous, and that's why we find ourselves here in America in the galut. So don't tell me politics is not spiritual. If we're Israel, and we're a spiritual nation, and we're here and not in Israel, how did we get here? Not only our own sins, but the unrighteousness of the leaders of our nation, the politicians and the political leaders. And we close with this. And don't get short on me because I didn't have a lot of time today. I have a lot of time. So give me 5 more minutes. So? 5 more minutes. Second Divrei Hayamim. Second Divrei Hayamim. 34. And I'm going to make a statement when I open this teaching, and I will verify it even further at this point. I'm going to do a lot of reading, but I need to verify my opening remarks. I told you that the civil authorities are ordained by Yahweh to bring revival to a nation. The spiritual authorities are ordained by Yahweh to shepherd the flock. Amen? Even evangelists reach 1% of the world's population, 2% of a city's population, 3% of a country's population. It is the ordained civil authorities who have a righteous life, a righteous walk, a righteous testimony, who win and revive a nation. Remember I made that premise?
Yes.
So we have to learn to give honor to political leaders, because Yahweh has ordained them to revive an entire nation, where He has only called us to look for the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Yes.
I like my calling, but I'm not called to revive nations. I'm called to find
One at a time.
and what did Ronald Reagan say when he was shot by John Hinckley? Oh, he's just a wayward sheep. He's a troubled young man. I can't pray for myself. I have to pray for him first. That is a throne established in righteousness. The average king, the average ruler would say, off with his head. Praying for my enemies? No way. But how could Yahweh, how could He exalt the nation if He didn't first have His throne established in righteousness? Then He could call America to be a city set on a hill. But I made a radical statement, and I'm going to back it up with some radical scriptures. Rendering political honor. Let's go to 2 Devarim 34. I'm going to read a lot, but check this out now. Are you ready?
Come on.
I said, are you ready?
Come on now, let's go.
Get ready, get ready, get ready. 2 Devarim 34. Yoshiyahu, and I may skip, but follow with me. 2 Chronicles 34. Yoshiyahu was 8 years old when he began to reign. How can that be? 8 years old? That's ridiculous. Well, when Yahweh's favor is upon you to establish the rulership and the throne in Tzedakah, it is not ridiculous. He can use an 8-year-old and then later a teenager to revive a nation.
Amen.
What about the New World Order? What about the Council on Foreign Relations? What about the connection to the... I don't know. I'm too stupid to figure all that out. All right? All I know is a tree is known by its fruit. Okay? That's all I know. Now, look at this. Yoshayahu was 8 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years. He did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh. And who are we talking about? King Josiah, Yoshiyahu. He did what was right in the sight of Yahweh, and had his halacha in the halachot of David, his Abba, and turned neither to the right hand or to the left. In the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, how old? 16. Good 10. While he was yet young, he began to seek after the Elohim of David, his Abba. And in the 12th year, he began to, how old was he then? 12th year? He was 12 plus 8, 20. He began to seek after Elohim, and in the 12th year, he began to purge Yehudah and Jerusalem of the idol temples and the Asherim and the carved images and the molten images. And they broke down the altars of Baalim in his presence, and the images that were above them he cut down. And the Asherim and the carved images and the molten images he broke to pieces. He made dust of them. He strode it upon the graves of them that had sacrificed to them. He burned the bones of their priests upon their altars. He cleansed Yehudah and Jerusalem. So he did also in the cities of Menashe and Ephraim and Shimeon, even to Naphtali, with their ruins all around. Now when he had broken down the altars and the Asherim, and had beaten the graven images into powder, and cut down all the idols throughout the land of Israel, he returned to Jerusalem. Now in the 18th year of his reign, when he had purged the land and the Bayit, he sent Safan the son of Azaliah, and Messiah the leader of the city, and Yoha the son of Yohaz the recorder, to repair the Bayit of Yahweh's Elohim. Look, circle those words. Here a politician, not the Kohanim who are sleeping, not the Levim who are sleeping, not the spiritual leaders who are asleep at the wheel. He sends the politician to build the house. When they came to the Hilchaya, the Kohen HaGadol, they delivered the money that was brought into the Bayit of Elohim, which the Leviim who kept the doors had gathered from the hand of Manasseh and Ephraim, and of the remnant of Israel, all of Yehuda and Benjamin, and they returned to Yerushalayim. Amen. So basically, he's in charge of rebuilding the house of Yahweh and putting it together. Now go down to verse 18. Second Debrei Yamim 34:18. Ready? Tell your neighbor and say, you ready?
Ready?
If you find someone sleeping, please give him an elbow. Thank you. Let's continue. Verse 18. Then Shaphan the Sofer told the Melech, saying, Hilkiah the Kohen gave me a scroll. And Shaphan read it before the Melech. It came to pass, when the Melech had heard the words of the Torah, he tore his clothes. And the Melech, now notice, the Melech commanded Hilkiah and Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Avdon, the son of Micha, and Shaphan, the Sofer, the scribe, and Asaiah, the Eved of the Melech, saying, Go inquire of Yahweh for me, and for them that are left in Israel and in Yehuda, concerning the words of this scroll that is found. For great is the wrath of Yahweh that is poured upon us, meaning Israel. Because our Ahavot have not kept the word of Yahweh, to do after all that is written in the scroll. Look at me. The king says, read the word to me. P.S. Now that we've heard the word, we better get busy doing the word. This is a politically led and based and initiated revival.
Come on.
That's what the Reagan Revolution was about. It is not the job of ministers to revive a nation. They are too busy caring for the wayward lost sheep of the house of Israel. But a king has the respect and the throne and the pulpit ordained by Yahweh. According to Romans 12, they are civil authorities ordained by Yahweh. They do not bear the sword in vain. They punish unrighteousness and establish righteousness for Yahweh.
Amen.
Righteousness exalts a nation. Sin is a reproach to any people. Now, verse 8, let's continue. To do after all in the scroll, verse 22. And Hilkiah, and they that the Melech had appointed, went to Huldah the Neviah, the wife of Shulam the son of Tikvat, the son of Harash, the keeper of the wardrobe, a woman prophet. She dwelt in Jerusalem in the second quarter. And they spoke to her to that effect. She answered and said this. Watch this. A woman, Neviah, and Neviah. She answered and said, This says Yahweh Elohim of Israel. Tell the man that sent you to me. Who is that man? King Melech Yoshiyahu, the president.
Yeah.
Hold it. Yahweh's not interested in politics. Really? No one forgot to tell Yahweh. Yahweh doesn't get involved with politics, Angel.
Yeah.
He doesn't get involved with politics. Really? So why did he send the Neviah to give a word to Yoshiyahu, his servant? He doesn't get involved with politics. All right, let's continue. Yahweh couldn't have been behind Ronald Reagan. And impossible. That's absolutely impossible. That was a political deal. Really. Now watch this. Tell the man that sent you to me. This says Yahweh. See, I will bring evil upon this place and upon the inhabitants of it, even all the curses that are written in the scroll that they have read before the Melech of Yehuda. Because they have forsaken me and have burned incense to other Elohim, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be poured upon this place, and shall not be quenched. Verse 26. Now watch this. You with me?
Yeah.
Tov. As for the Melech of Yehuda, what's another way to say Melech in modern terminology? The president, king, the president. As for the president of America, or Judah, or whatever, who sent you to inquire of Yahweh, so shall you say to him, This says Yahweh, of Elohim of Israel, concerning the words you have heard. Because your slave was tender. Was he a rabbi?
No.
Was he a sholiach?
No.
Was he a moreh?
No.
What fivefold ministry did he occupy? None. He was a politician. Because your lave was tender. And you did humble yourself before Elohim. When you heard his words against this place and against its inhabitants, and you humbled yourself as a politician before me, and tore your clothes, and wept before me, I have even heard you, also says Yahweh. See, I will gather you to your avot, and you will be gathered to your grave in shalom. Neither shall your eyes see all the evil that I will bring upon this place and upon the inhabitants of it. So they brought the Melech word again. Then the Melech sent and gathered together all the Zechanim. Now watch this. Of Yehuda and Yerushalayim. The Melech heard the word of Yahweh. Read the word of Yahweh. Trusted the word of Yahweh. Followed the word of Yahweh. Watch this. Because he believed, he acted. Why did Ronald Reagan stand up and the speechwriters were going, don't do that, you're going to cause a nuclear war? I used to think that too. This guy's nuts. He's going to cause a nuclear war. Watch this. Then the Melech sent and gathered together all the Zechanim of Yehuda and Yerushalayim. The Melech went to the Bayit of Yahweh and all the men of Yehuda and the inhabitants of Yerushalayim and the Kohanim and Levim and all the people. Who's leading this revival? I said, who's leading this revival? The politician. Where are the Kohanim and Levim? They're too busy being professional. What? Clergy. Hello? Let's continue. And he read in the ears of all the words of the scroll of the covenant found in the Bayit of Yahweh. The Melech reads the word. How is the throne established in righteousness? The Melech reads the word, trusts the word, obeys the word, walks the word. He read in their ears all the words of the scroll of the covenant found in the Bayit of Yahweh. And the Melech stood in his place and made a covenant before Yahweh to have their halacha after Yahweh, to keep his mishpatim and his testimonies and his hukim with all his lave. Doesn't say the levim of the Kohanim, but with his lave. And with all his being, to perform the words of the covenant that is written in the scroll. And he caused all who were present in Yerushalayim and Benjamin to stand by it. What part of the word all are we having problems with? A or the L? A political-led revival causing all Jerusalem and Benjamin to return to Yahweh Elohim and his word and his halachot and his Torah and his eternal preordained plan of living as Yesharim, righteous in the eyes of Yahweh. It all happened through a righteous politician. And when the politician gets a hold of Yahweh's truth, Yeshua, I am the way, said, I am the truth, I am the life. When a politician gets a hold of Yahweh's truth, all the city is revived, all the tribe is revived, all the nation is revived, and everyone is part of that revival. Let's continue. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem did according to the covenant. They heard this politically read revival. They did according to the covenant, and the Elohim of their avot. Yeshayahu took away all the abominations out of all the countries that pertained to the children of Israel, and made all that were present in Israel to serve, even to serve Yahweh their Elohim. All his days they did not depart from following Yahweh, the Elohim of their avot. I'll say that again. All the days of Yoshiyahu, Josiah, Yoshiyahu, Israel did not depart from Yahweh and following Yahweh. In other words, revival had come to the nation. Are we willing to do what Yahweh told us to do? Render honor to those who are shepherds in the flock. But when it comes to politicians, we got to learn and enjoy rendering political honor. Because I want you to think about the life of Josiah, Yoshiyahu, and the life of Ronald Reagan. And you'll find some very interesting differences. So that a righteous politician is a minister of Yahweh to revive not just a segment such as the lost sheep of the house of Israel, but an entire nation, and to take that nation and exalt it to become a city, that great city on a hill. Father, we thank you. We thank you, Abba Yahweh, for what you've done to us today, for us. We thank you for the new wineskins that you have brought into our midst, those who desire to be revived and walk with you. Father, we thank you for this community of Miami Beach, Yisrael Revival. That, Father, you are maturing us to acknowledge greatness among us. Spirit